Today, I'm going to be talking about episode 7 of season 16 of Deadliest Catch. And all the boats are finishing up their king crab season. And the price of king crab per pound is $10.50 per pound. And in the last episode, it was $11 per pound. Episode 7 starts off with the saga, and they're fishing on the gooseneck where they were getting really good numbers before, and they start out with 12, and then the next spot comes in at 13, and then 7, and that's just not going to cut it to finish their season. So Jonathan is like, let me call my good buddy Keith on the Wizard, and let's create a partnership with him, the Wizard and the Saga. So they call him, and Keith answers, and he says, I've got like 4 or 5 strings up here, and there's one string down there. He's like, go check that string out and let me know what's going on with that string, and give me all the information if you find crab or if you don't. So shows the Saga and the Wizard, Keith and Jake and Jonathan talking back and forth and figuring out what their next move's going to be. Then it goes to the Cornelia Marie, and the Cornelia Marie is on low numbers, and there's a lot of female crab, so they also have an offload coming up soon, so they decide to either play it safe and go in light, or gamble and try and reach their quota. So they start hauling in their gear, and then it goes to the Northwestern, and they were supposed to have their bait done and ready to go for their pots, and what happens is Nick Mavar Jr., he was supposed to get all the bait ready. He was missing, and they had crew looking for him in the crew quarters, and they were thinking he went overboard, but he was really locked in the bait freezer, freezing his ass off. So that was pretty crazy. Then it goes to the Seabrook, and the Seabrook is out fishing for golden king crab, and they're setting their gear, and they call the string they were setting out, they call it the Putin set. So they're really close to Russian waters, and you can hear Russian transmissions on the radio from the other Russian captains talking back and forth to each other. Then it goes to the Summer Bay, and the Summer Bay they are just closing up their season, and Wild Bill, in the last episode, he got a call to go and be a captain for hire in Russia on a new Russian boat to go catch crab for them. Then it goes to the Seabrook, and the Seabrook is on the Golden King crab grounds, and they haven't been doing very good finding Golden King crab. They need 30,000 pounds to open the fishery, and they're really struggling. They're setting pots, and you can hear the Russians talking over the radio, and they're really close to the US-Russian border. Then it goes to the Saga, and the Saga is pulling the Wizard's gear because they were allowed to. Keith allowed them to fish his gear and give them information, and they're doing really good. It started out with 17 king crab, and it's goes up to 52 king crab per pot, which is really good. And they're celebrating and laughing, and Jake thinks he has a silly string, but it turns out it's hairspray, and he sprays it all on Jonathan. And he realizes, oh, that's hairspray. So that was happening, and they were laughing like crazy, and Keith on the Wizard was trying to get information from him, but they didn't hear it, so they left Keith in the dark for a while, and that was pretty crazy. Then it goes to the Cornelia Marie, and the Cornelia Marie is out getting their gear, and they're starting to stack their gear and end their season. It comes down to their last pot, and they counted their crab that they had accounted for, and they thought they were a little bit over, so they decided to call their season for king crab and go back into harbor and offload their king crab for the 2019 king crab season. Then it goes to the wizard, and the wizard calls the saga, and Jake and Jonathan are still really happy, and they're laughing and joking around and jumping around and stuff, and they finally hear Keith on the wizard call them, and they tell him that they're on really good numbers, and that happens. Then it goes to the Seabrook, and the Seabrook is hauling in their gear right on the Russian borderline. Their autopilot and steering, it goes out, and they're really, really close to the US-Russia border in the Bering Sea, and they need to get this fixed, or hotwire the steering system and autopilot so they don't cross into Russian waters. If they do, they'll get in serious trouble, and all the crab they have on board will be seized, and they'll be escorted back to Dutch Harbor with a Russian Coast Guard vessel. And they don't want that to happen, because that's bad news. It goes to the Cornelia Marie, and the Cornelia Marie is getting their gear and they're stacking it, and they comes down to their last pot, and they think they have crab to finish their season with their quota that they have. They let Maria, the greenhorn, she gets to throw the hook for the last pot as a last test. Then it goes to the Northwestern. Mandy is captaining the Northwestern, and Sig is out on deck, and it's their last pot of the 2019 king crab season, and Sig does the honor of throwing the hook with a flare on it, and he throws it, and he catches the line with the buoys, and if you miss, it's a superstition where if they miss, the next season will go badly, and Sig hits it perfectly, and they end their season, and the Northwestern walked away with a $920,000 payday with their king crab quota. Then it goes to the Saga, and the Saga is finishing up their season. Keith was wondering where the Saga set his gear, and Jonathan set Keith's gear not in a normal string. A normal string is a straight line of pots. Jonathan set the gear to kind of keep it out of the Saga's gear, little ways away from it, so they wouldn't be competing for crab. And Jonathan set Keith's gear in phallus shape by accident. He didn't even realize what he was doing until he looked at it later, and Jake and Jonathan were laughing so hard, and they were kind of reluctant to tell Keith how Jonathan accidentally set the gear, and he told him that it looks like a walrus phallus. And Keith is just laughing really hard because it's really funny. The Saga finishes their season, and then it shows the Wizard finishing their king crab season. And then it goes to the Seabrook, and the Seabrook is hauling in a pot, or they're hauling in gear, and this is the last spot where they would find golden king crab, and each pot is coming up blank, or barely any golden king crab in it. So Scott decides to call the season, and now he knows that that's why the golden king crab has not been fished in over 37 years. Then it goes to the Saga, and the Saga finishes up their season, and Jonathan closes a chapter for now as a captain on the Bering Sea. You never know, he might be back in season 17 of Deadliest Catch. We'll just have to wait and see for that. Then it goes to the Summer Bay, and Wild Bill is really considering going to Russia to be a captain over there, because he's $100,000 in debt. All of his crew made money, but he didn't make any money because he has to spend $100,000 to fix his port main engine because it was having major problems, and it's a total rebuild and redo. So by Opilio season, Wild Bill is going to have a brand new port engine. So that is the end of episode 7 of season 16 of Deadliest Catch. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of Deadliest Catch. Please share this video with your friends and family, and don't forget to hit that bell icon down below. Also, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and like my videos, and thank you guys for watching, and if you ain't dreaming, you ain't living. Don't forget to dream big.